Hey guys, welcome back to 608 Fab. I've kind of been absent over the last few weeks, haven't posted much of any videos, but posted a teaser video, no, not a video, but teaser photo on the Facebook page a handful of days ago. And as you can tell with the background here, I'm in a little different shop than normal. I am up at my day job shop. And I've been, as I've mentioned before, for those that follow, I've been blessed to be able to utilize the shop up here when projects are too big for my little shop at home. And this project has gotten very big. So those that follow the channel know that we wrecked the van late in the year last year, right before we went to Southern Missouri Off-Road Ranch, AKA S'more. And that got totaled out. So we took that cash out of the van. We got a nice payout from insurance and we bought a camper. So bought a 21-foot Jayco travel trailer, just a simple little bumper pull, but it's got everything that we need. Wife and I picked that out, I don't know, a couple weeks after we got back from the Crawl the Ozarks in S'more. Took that on a quick camping trip, gave it a shakedown run as a bumper pull, and decided to order a gooseneck because now we got to haul the Jeep as well, right? So now we got a new truck to us, buying a new used truck to replace the van to haul the Jeep, and bought a camper to replace the van. And that means we needed a gooseneck to haul the camper and the van, which now has turned into the crawler hauler. So I've worked on this over the last few weeks, engineering it in my head, kind of designing things in my head, and we had a little bit of a slower week here at the shop with the Thanksgiving holiday and such, and I was able to bring this big pig in and start getting it all kind of put together. So here is what we've got. All right, so I gotta get way back in the corner of the shop. So the base, there's the Jayco J-Flight 21DX or something like that travel trailer. That's a 2020 we scooped up used. I think we got a decent buy, so it's a pre-COVID build. Had no use to it. I mean, there isn't a nick or a scratch in it, a couple of bug dents in the front, but outside of that, the interior is just minty as it came off the showroom floor. At some point, we will do a tour of that thing. Then I, being a trailer dealer for my day job, I'm general manager up at I-90 Enterprises. I spec'd out this 40-foot PJ B8 gooseneck. It's on a triaxle setup and running the 14-ply rubber. It's the 102 wide with the drive-over fenders. It's a long walk to the front of this thing. It's going to be fun to drag this around. Simple gooseneck setup. Again, the PJ B8, the Jayco on the top there. And then really the only custom thing I did on this trailer, it's pretty much a base model other than adding a triaxle and adding the 14-ply tire upgrade, is I did the Stillwell, I think they call them monster jacks, but it's the dual hydraulic landing gear. This thing's gonna have an atrocious amount of pin weight on it. So, especially when the Jeep's not on the back, and cranking that up and down was not gonna be what I wanted to do for a weekend of screwing around. So, I did the hydro jacks. But if you're thinking about ordering a gooseneck trailer or a heavy dump trailer, a heavy bumper pull, put hydraulic jacks on it. I posted a YouTube video on the I-90 Enterprises page a week or two ago, kind of playing with this thing while I had the camper on it, and it's literally push button. So I'm going to talk about how I mounted this. So I'm on the Facebook, I think it's Crawler Hauler page. There's a lot of people on there with a lot of really good info. All right, and there's differing opinions all the way around, so I kind of split the differing opinions. All right, so what I did in the rear here is I deleted the axles and the leaf springs, of course. The crossbar here going front to rear with the frame bolted through. That's a 1.5 by 3 inch box tube. I would have done like 1.5 by more, but you really can't get 1.5 by anything bigger than 3 inch in a 3/16 wall, at least through any of my vendors here. So then I stacked that on a 2x4 3/16 wall as well. Got that all bolted in place of the springs. And then I ran the 2x4 out to the outside rail of the trailer. All right, so the diamond plate tin here is pretty much just stitch welded on randomly. It's not meant for structure. You can drive your tires up over it. That's the idea behind it. It'll handle some weight, but it's not really designed for a significant, tie down, at least in my opinion. So what I did here is a single grade 8 1/2 inch bolt, and that goes underneath the diamond plate. This outer rail here on the PJs is a channel iron. So this is a 6-inch channel iron on the outside, and then this inside channel iron is the 8-inch main frame. So this is just a wing, okay? It is structurally sound though. It's got some nice channel iron cross members that run from the outside of the 8-inch to the inside of the 6-inch. Sadly, the way I put these 2x4s in, the crossbars, you cannot, I just didn't hit the cross members that were underneath that. I didn't know exactly where the crossbars were gonna land because of the camper front to rear. At the point that I made these cross members to go directly under the spring hangers, I hadn't slid the camper forward yet. I hadn't cut the tongue off. So I could have potentially done that a little different and tied that into the channel iron cross members under here, but I think I came up with a decent enough plan of this 1/2 inch bolt goes down through the tube, and underneath here I've got a large L bracket. So that is actually pinching the top of this 2x6 channel iron, and then extends out a lot further, about 4 inches out into the diamond plate. And it's literally kind of like a clamp. It's clamping the channel iron outer rail to this box tube through this plate. So, and then, because I wanted to double, really nail this thing down, I took a 2x6 3/8 flat strap that we had here at the shop and welded that all into the back side of this tube, and welded that then to the top of the channel and wrapped everything welded. I mean, if there's a 1/4 inch on here, I welded a 1/4 inch on it. So that's that. So now the controversy on the old Facebook page, and I'm not even gonna call it controversy because everybody's really cool on this crawler hauler page that I stumbled across, is some guys say this needs to be bushing mounted. So, because the flex of the base gooseneck, I mean, this thing's 40 feet long and it's channel iron, it noodles around, right? And then the camper has its own flex and it wants to do its own thing. So they kind of say that bolting and marrying these two frames together can cause problems. But in our industry here at the trailer shop, we see a lot of failed camper frames. So the failures on the camper frames, the spring hangers, mainly usually the rear, is what we see the most of. And I don't know if that's because of the pivoting and the sliding and the things like that. But the spring hangers, this is not a crack. That is just an air gap and some rusty paint. But these guys here will snap off the I-beam. Generally this weld here doesn't fail, but the actual I-beam web fails. So we've seen this where this I-beam gets rocked back and forth so many times that it cracks the I-beam here. And also on rough roads and heavy campers, we'll see stress cracks coming up through the I-beam frame here. So this camper has a wedge welded in here. Some campers also, they're starting to put a cross brace in the shackle to keep the shackles from folding over. I might still even do that. I don't think it can really fold over, but I'm gonna certainly keep an eye on it because this is what fails on campers, at least that we see in our service shop here. So some guys will say that when you delete the leaf springs and you marry the gooseneck trailer to the main frame, that as the main frame wants to flex and the gooseneck wants to flex, you'll start blowing all this apart. Well, guess what, guys? This stuff blows apart on everyday travel trailers because, I mean, just look at, you know, crappy welds. It's mediocre at best. So, and then also what I started thinking is from the front or the bottom of the gooseneck riser coming back the deck to the center here, that's 15 feet. 15 feet of 8-inch channel frame. Not sure how much flex in that there is. Now, when I was moving this trailer around empty, it was flexing all over the place, right? But I was also watching from the very tail all the way up to the gooseneck. So in that, I bet you there's a couple inches of deflection. But when you narrow it down and you're only using the front 15 feet of the trailer to support the camper, I don't think you're gonna get that much flex in this. But what I did to combat that is this is where I split the difference on opinions, right? So at the very front, you can see I bobbed the tongue off. I'll show you the tongue that I cut off. I still got that sitting on the floor here. So there's the tongue. I cut roughly 30 inches back on it. And this cross member was for the original battery tray. All right, so that angle iron that was just on the front there, or laying on the floor, that used to be right about here on the underside of the frame, just like this one. Do not trust those to measure with. These are, on this specific trailer, 3/4 of an inch off. So that side was 3/4 of an inch further forward than this side. So if I actually put a tape measure on it right now, this cross member would be crooked to this. However, luckily I caught myself before I cut this all off and started measuring from this front bulkhead up the frame, found my spot here, and then I also triple checked by measuring from the coupler. I just chose a weld spot. This is pretty consistent on all these couplers. We cut these off all the time at work and weld new ones on when they get damaged. But this spot here on the coupler, I also measured back to here and confirmed my dimensions side to side. And guess what? Those didn't match either. So I ended up kind of splitting the difference, right? So we're only talking at that point, we're within 1/4 of an inch. So I just kind of split that 1/8 of an inch and put this thing in. This here is 2x6 3/16 wall box tube. This main frame was actually probably pretty close to 3/16. So that's a nice combination to marry that together. I still got to cut that angle iron battery tray support out because I'm thinking I have just enough real estate to mount my propane tanks in there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to split propane tanks, put one on this side over here and one on that side. They won't look as good. If I can get that hood, like the dual propane tank hood, and both tanks mounted in the center with the auto change regulator, duplicus, that'll just be nice. So what I did in the front though was to combat the flex is I built this kind of cross member to spread the weight out. And then underneath there, you can see, two body mounts. So these are just cheap Chinese Amazon body mounts. And I set it on there. There's a little bit of a squish. And then on the front of the channel iron, or not, excuse me, the front of that box tube, I built this. This is a 3x3 1/4 inch angle iron. And then I put some web gussets up so it doesn't try to push the center of the tube in. And then the rest of the body mounts there in the top, grade 8 1/2-inch bolts hammered down. And that allows, I've got no way to really get a good photo of this, but if I come up here and I'm pushing on the camper, I can actually get a little rock in the camper, and you can see, you aren't going to ever be able to see that, but you can see that the camper ever slightly moves independent of the base gooseneck trailer. So as the front of the gooseneck flexes around, which we know it's going to, it should theoretically allow some movement so that the two trailers don't tear themselves apart. I have 0 miles on this theory. So with any luck, the wife and I will be able to get 3 to 5 good trips under our belt this year, and hopefully that's 4-ish thousand miles. We would love to do that. If we could put 4,000 or 5,000 miles on it this next summer, that gives us, it means we're taking vacation and we're traveling and we're screwing around, which is what the whole idea of this is. So there's my theories. There's how I did it. I don't count this for, perfectly engineered anything. But I'm gonna post it out there, and it at least gives you an idea how I did it and what you can do. Get on, if you're looking at building a crawler hauler, get on the Facebook page. There's the crawler hauler page. There's tons of info out there, hundreds of photos on what guys did differently. Search around on that, post up photos of what you're thinking to do. Guys will have some really good opinions on it. And like I say, everybody's really cool on it. It's not like the old pirate 4x4 where they're just gonna trash talk, call you a moron, and whatever else. So it's a great group of guys. So thanks for watching. I want to say thanks to the business I work for allowing me to use this big shop and tie up a bay. And if you need a PJ trailer, the cat's out of the bag. My day job is I-90 Enterprises in Edgerton, Wisconsin, and you can hit me up for a PJ trailer. We're a PJ, when it comes to crawler hauler builds, we sell PJ, I sell Rice, we sell Liberty, and there's kind of your 3 big hitters to build the goosenecks. I chose the PJ because shipping and logistics, to get it to me. Oh, we're also a Good Guys dealer. And Liberty Trailers is building a new factory in Texas. They couldn't get this big of a trailer. They could build it, but they couldn't get it built in their Indiana facility in a timely manner because it's just so long. They're like, you know what, we don't do it. Great guys, great trailers. I could have had this done over at Good Guys, but I didn't have anything shipping out of Good Guys in a timely manner, so we had it built down in Paris, Texas at PJ Trailers. So wherever you're at in the country, we may be able to help, but I'm also here to help you try and pick out the right trailer too. So if you're in Southern California, you're not driving to Southern Wisconsin to buy a trailer from me at I-90 Enterprises, but you can hit me up on the side or even at work, and I'll be happy to talk to you about trailers, good, bad, otherwise, what your ideas are, especially when it comes to doing something dumb like building a crawler hauler. And then moving forward, I will, keep tabs on what's good, bad, or otherwise on this thing. I don't know. Hopefully we picked the right camper. I know we picked the right trailer, and now it's just wait for spring, because it's Thanksgiving and we've got salty roads here already, and this thing is not gonna go out and see the salt, nor am I gonna drag the Jeep around on the back in the salt. So again, thanks for watching. Hit me up with trailer questions. If you have questions about how I built it, I'll try to help you along the way, but hopefully the video kind of describes that, and go from there. Be good, happy Thanksgiving, and do something cool.